Hello and welcome to another Friday Live with Kate R for Intrepid English. This is our Ask Us Anything Friday Live that I do every Friday, except last Friday as I had slight emergency. But I always come on and I talk about a grammar, vocabulary, or pronunciation point in English. And today I want to talk about a really great question I had from one of my students, which is travel, trip, journey, which to use. But before I explain the difference, if you like my videos and if you like all the amazing content that's on Intrepid English, please click subscribe because we are always adding new videos, new shorts, new incredible, useful tips to do the IELTS or grammar points like I do on the Friday. So many great, useful resources in English. So hit like, hit subscribe so you can improve your English with us at Intrepid English. And of course, if you would like to have one-on-one lessons, by all means, go onto our website and book a trial lesson with me to see if we are a good fit for me to help your English. But now let's talk about the difference between travel, trip, and journey. So, listen closely. Are you traveling over the holidays? If so, where are you going on your trip? I hope the journey goes well and that you have a great time. Okay, so I used all three words there, but I use them for different reasons. Sorry, my little 10-month-old is just by my side. She doesn't quite want to play, and her playpen, she wants to be near me, but I'm just checking on her every now and again. So that's why I'm looking down. So I use travel as a verb. This is very, very important. Travel is a verb, whereas trip and journey are nouns. And that is how we use them. First of all, that is the big difference between travel, trip, and journey. Travel is a verb, trip and journey is a noun, are nouns. So let's explore each word. So travel, as I said, is a verb, and it means to go to a place, and especially one that's far away. So that can mean long distances within the same country or to other countries. For example, I have a friend who travels abroad for work a lot. Travel can also be used as a noun that relates to the act of going from one place to another, and this is why it can get confusing, but you use it as a gerund. For example, traveling alone with two small children is not easy, believe me, which is what I did 2 weeks ago, traveling to London, two small children, and it was not easy, I promise you. So I'm using traveling as the gerund. So a common mistake with travel is confusing it with trip. So for example, if I said I brought this tree decoration, don't know if you can see it, I bought this tree decoration with my daughter on our, so this is wrong, on our travel to London. We don't say on our travel to London. We say on our trip to London. This is very, very important. Okay, travel as a noun is only as a gerund. So traveling alone, traveling with children, traveling around the country. Okay, it is not, we do not say our travel. Okay, we say our trip. So let's look closer at trip. So trip means the act of going to another place and returning. Okay, so as I said, I bought this tree decoration on our trip to London. And we can also say things like day trip, business trip, road trip, to just describe different kinds of trips. Oh dear, I did feel that. I did feel a little certain someone hit her head on my chair. So we do not use it as a verb to mean to travel. Okay, that's very, very important. And no, you cannot put your hands on my keyboard. I'm just going to move the computer further away. Hello. There you go, little one. When we use trip as a verb, it is to talk about when we are walking. Certainly with this one happens a lot when she is walking and she hits an obstacle, boop, and she trips. That is when we use it as a verb. Otherwise, it is a noun and it means to go from one place to another and return. Okay, now let's look at the word journey. So the word journey is also a noun that means the act of going from one place to another. Okay, this is why it's also difficult because they all have kind of the same meaning. So for example, I hate long car journeys. Or you could say, have a safe journey to somebody who's going on their trip. Or it's a 2-hour train journey from York to London. So let's look at the difference between journey and trip. Okay, so for example, the journey to London took 3 hours by train. Okay, but our trip to London was fantastic. Okay, so the first is talking about the actual going from A to B and the actual traveling time. If we were using a verb and not saying how long, we could use, we traveled to London by train. The second sentence, our trip to London was fantastic, is talking about the whole holiday, the period away. Okay, so that's the big difference. Travel is a verb. That's the first difference. And trip and journey are nouns. But then the difference between trip and journey is that journey is really talking about that act, the actual act of traveling from A to B, whereas trip is talking about the whole time away. Okay, as a whole. And it can also be, so you can have a multi-trip journey. That's where it gets confusing, or a single trip journey. So that's mean when you're just going from A to B, or if you're multi-trip, it's when you're stopping at lots of places. I hope that helps. The difference between these three words, especially because I imagine with the holidays coming up, lots of people are going to be using this vocabulary. So I don't want to hear our travels ever again by my students. In the meantime, have a great weekend and speak soon. I'll see you next Friday. Bye.